Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranams to all.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, who is logged in as Prahlad Gurukul?
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna. Okay, Prabhu. I am finding your name somewhere else also, that's why I asked. Dandat Pranams, Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Hare. Two devices, sir. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Manibhushan Prabhu, Harilila Prabhu has come.
Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam, Hari Leela Das Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Hari Leela Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Whenever you are ready, we can start.
Guruji, another 2 minutes, Guruji. People are joining.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, okay. So 1.3.18, is it not?
Yes, Guruji.
It's just a shloka, there's no purport for it.
No problem. We can next sloka or Balram Jayanti glorification also you can do. Today is a very auspicious day. Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranams to all. So on this very auspicious Balram Jayanti, we are proceeding with Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. And we are very fortunate to have His Grace Hari Leela Das Prabhuji with us today on this wonderful Balram Jayanti day from Mayapur. So Prabhuji basically from Kumbakonam and presently Prabhuji is settled in Mayapur, and Prabhuji was serving in different Middle East countries like Kanaiyyadesh and Damodardesh, and Prabhuji is now serving with Mayapur management, and we are so fortunate to have Prabhuji serving in Mayapur Bhaktivedanta Academy and Gurukul. Prabhuji's Mataji also taking Bhakti Shastra and Bhakti Vaibhav courses in Mayapur Institute. So we are so fortunate. So we'll welcome Prabhuji to this session by chanting Hare Krishna Mantra 3 times. All together, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Lila Prabhuji. You can
Hare
start.
Krishna Prabhu. So, what is the language? English, Tamil?
Prabhuji, English.
English. Okay. So, happy Balram Purnima to all of you. Today is very auspicious appearance day of Lord Balaram. So, we are all celebrating. And in today's, before we get into today's verse, we'll chant the invocation prayers for Srimad Bhagavatam. I will chant. Nigamakalapatarorgalitam phalam sukamkatamrita dhruvasamritam Pivata Bhagavatam rasamalayam mukharagho rasika bhivavata Narayanam namaskritya narancha ivanarottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu badhreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatyuttama shloke bhakti bhavati neshtiki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Readings from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 3, titled Sri Krishna is the source of all incarnations. And today we will see text 18. It is simply text and translation. There's no purport, but we will discuss the translation. And also we'll discuss some glories of Lord Balram in the process. Chaturdasham Mataji Avas Kurbenna. Chaturdasham Narasimham Vibrit Daitendriyamunjitam Dadara Karajai Urav Yerakam Katakrit Yatha. So synonyms. Chaturdasham, the 14th in the line. Narasimham, the incarnation of the Lord as half man, half lion. Vibrat, advented. Daitendram, the king of the atheist. Urjitam, strongly built. Dadara, bifurcated. Karajai, by the nails. Urav, on the lap. Erakam, chains. Katakrit, carpenter. Yatha, just like. Translation by His Divine Grace Abhay Charananda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In the 14th incarnation, the Lord appeared as Narasimha and bifurcated the strong body of the atheist Hiranyakashipu with his nails, just as a carpenter pierces the crane. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shlakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Sri Gurun Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rup Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Saragana Lagita Sri Vishakanitamscha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये पंचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं तंगं लंगायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दिनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरं तथाञ्चन स्मृते यस्मिन् दुष्करं सुकरं भवेत् स्मृते प्रीतं स्यात् श्रीचैतन्यं नमामि तं। मां विष्णुराय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपादस्वामी नामिने नामाचार्य प्रदाय करोति नाम Hare Krishna. So here in this chapter, Sutta Goswami is explaining the different incarnations of the Lord one by one. So in the line of those incarnations, the 14th incarnation, who is explained here, is Nrsimhadev, who is favorite for all of us. He is very favorite for everyone because of his quality of instantly appearing to save the devotee. That he appears from the pillar. So he is ready. It is explained in the past time that Nrsimhadev was ready to appear from anywhere, wherever Hiranyakashipu would have pointed. He was ready to appear from anywhere because there was no certainty where Hiranyakashipu would point his finger. But the Lord being present everywhere, in Brahma Samhita it is explained, Andantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. That he enters the entire universe as Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. And then he enters into every atom as the Paramatma, Shirogatashaya Vishnu, who is present everywhere. So there is no place where he is not present. So he was ready to appear from anywhere. Wherever Hiranyakashipu would have pointed his finger, he would appear from there, just to save his devotee, Prahlad Maharaj. So the Lord is always very keen that his devotees should be saved, devotees should be maintained. Is very special. Devotees are very special. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dvesha asti na priyaha, that I am equal to everyone. I don't hate anyone. I don't like anyone. Even Vedanta Sutra, it is said the same thing, that the Lord doesn't like or hate anyone. The Supreme Being doesn't like or hate anyone. So then, in the beginning of the seventh canto, this question is asked by Parashit Maharaj, that if the Lord is neutral, then why is it that he favors the demigods and he is against the demons? He is neutral. He should not participate. He should not favor the demigods. Sometimes he favors the demigods and then he is against the demons. And then he is making so much problem for the demons. He is always making sure that the demigods are victorious. So this question comes up. That is he not partial? Is the supreme absolute truth who is supposed to be impartial? Is he not partial? This question comes up. So then Sukadeva Goswami deals with this question very nicely, explaining how the partiality actually lies in the understanding of the conditioned soul. The Lord is not partial. The Lord is not partial. The Lord is not a conditioned soul. He is ever liberated. He is Atmaram. He is Aptakam. He doesn't need anything. He is not wanting something. He is not exhibiting his pastimes because he desires it. In third canto, in the beginning, there's a question which is asked by Vidura to Maitreya. Vidura is asking Maitreya that the boys have the desire to play. So then they play. They take the playthings and then they play. So is the Lord's pastimes like the boys manifesting the desire to play? Is it something like that? So then Maitreya is answering that no, it is not like that, because the boys desire to play. One second, Mataji, এখান থেকে কিছু করবেন না, এটা শেষ করে যাবেন, এটা আমি উঠতে পারবে না. So the boys desire to play. This is something which is very different from the Lord exhibiting his pastimes, because the boys desire to play, it actually reflects the defect of a conditioned soul. The desire to play comes from a dissatisfaction, that the boys, they are not satisfied with their existing condition. Whatever condition they are not satisfied with it. So they are thinking, so because I am not satisfied with my existing condition, then I need some other engagement in the form of playing either cricket or video game or whatever it is. So I need to depend on something else which will give me satisfaction. So the boy's desire to play comes out of the basic sense of dissatisfaction of what they are doing. But the Lord's desire to engage in pastimes is not coming out of dissatisfaction, because within the supreme absolute truth, there is no question of dissatisfaction. So then what propels the Lord to display his pastimes? And that is the question, that what propels the Lord to display his pastimes, if it is not out of dissatisfaction? Just like we are explaining, the boys play out of dissatisfaction. And then when they play for some time, then again they get dissatisfied, because they have been engaging in that activity for quite some time. So they get dissatisfied. Then they stop playing and then they go to do something else. So this is how the material world is, that you cannot be satisfied in this material world. So the activities exhibited by the conditioned soul in the material world are simply reflections of dissatisfaction and the search for satisfaction. That is why in the beginning of Bhagavatam, the Saunakadi Rishis, they are asking this question, Bhurini, Bhuri Karmani, Shrotavyani Vibhagashah, Atasado Atra Yatsaram, Samudritya Manishaya, Bhuri Bhadraya Bhutanam, Enatma Suprasidati. So this question, Enatma Suprasidati, is a very important question. How the soul can be satisfied, because there are different kind of scriptures, and they are recommending different type of activities. Bhurini, Bhuri Karmani. There are different type of scriptures, and they are recommending different type of activities according to the divisions of Varna and Ashrama. Shrotavyani Vibhagashaha. Vibhagashaha means divisions. That whether you belong to this Varna or this Ashrama, according to your social position, spiritual position, different duties are prescribed by different scriptures. It is explained by Krishna also in Bhagavad Gita. In the 3rd chapter, Krishna explains that yajnat bhavati parjanyo yajna karma samudbhavam karma brahmodbhavam vidhi. So yajna karma samudbhavam, the different activities of sacrifice, they are coming from prescribed duties. And where the prescribed duties are coming from, then karma brahmodbhavam vidhi. Karma or the prescribed duties, they are there in the Vedic literature, brahmodbhavam vidhi. Then Brahmakshara Samudbhavam, Vedic literature is coming from, Vedic literature is coming from the infallible Lord. So this is all explained by Krishna in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that there are different activities or different duties which is given for different people according to their divisions. So that's all they are also explaining, that Vibhagashaha. But what is the essence of all these different instructions, or what is the essence of all these prohibitions and instructions? Why are we told to do something, and why are we prohibited from not doing something? What is the essence of all these things? Where is all these things leading to? That is explained by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Again in 15th chapter, Krishna is saying, Vedesya charver ahameva vedyo vedanta krut vedavityeva chaham. So, but unless one comes to the point of understanding that everything is there to introduce Krishna to us, our lost relationship with Krishna to us, one has to be dissatisfied. So now the question comes, that is the Lord also dissatisfied in his activities? Because as conditioned souls, we are all acting because we are dissatisfied. So the Lord is also acting. He is also doing various things. he is also killing people. Like just now it is explained in this sloka that as Nrsimhadev, he killed Hiranyakashipu. So he is acting, he is the enemy of Hiranyakashipu. It said Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. Indrari means, Ari means enemy. Indrari means the enemies of Indra. So the enemies of Indra, when they put these three worlds into some sort of distress, Vyakulam. Vyakulam means distress. When they put these three worlds into some sort of distress, then Mridayanti Yuge Yuge, then the Lord appears every yuga. Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. So all these things are there. So is the Lord favoring someone and is the Lord against somebody? Is he favoring the demigods and is against the demons? No, Krishna is saying, Samoham Sarvabhuteshu Same Name Deshu Astina Priyaha. So there is no one who is dear to me, nor there are people who are inimical to me. But what he says, that ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya mai te teshu chapyaham. But one who is doing loving devotional service,
Hare Krishna. I think there is some problem with Prabhu's connection.
Yes, Prabhu. It's not disconnected. Video, audio, both disconnected.
Yes, Prabhu. We will wait, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's power supply went off. Please wait for 1 or 2 minutes.
Hare Krishna. So Manibhushan Prabhu, can you tell me how much you heard? When did you cut off last? Or anybody else can tell when did I cut off last?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Lord is not doing Leelas out of dissatisfaction.
Okay. So he is not doing his Leela out of dissatisfaction because his activity. So then the question comes that what inspires the Lord to act? So the Lord is saying in Bhagavad Gita that ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mayi te teshu chapyaham, that those who are my devotees who are doing loving service to me, they are in me and I am in them. So then there is then the Lord, then one can say, no, you are partial to devotees. One can accuse the Lord because they are your devotees, you are partial to them. Then Prabhupada gives a very nice example in that purport to explain that how it is not partiality. If there's a rich man and he is very charitable to everybody, naturally he will take care of his son very nicely. So this is not partiality. It is simply his nature that he will take care of his son very nicely. Then one may say that everybody is Krishna's son, so he should take care of everybody nicely. Krishna says, yeah, I am taking care of everybody nicely. How do you say that you are taking care of everybody nicely? Then Krishna says in 7th chapter Bhagavad Gita, Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi sasusiroyo pranavas sarva vedeshu sabdake pauritamnishu punyoganda prativyam sa tedastrasmi bhavaso jivanam sarva bhuteshu chapastrasmi tapasvishu. So like that, he is going on giving different things in 7th chapter, where you can actually see that without Krishna, nobody can actually exist in this material world. Krishna is not saying, oh, this fellow is atheist. He is saying there is no God. So let me cut off the oxygen supply to him. Let me block the sun to him. Or let me block the moonlight for him. No, Krishna doesn't do these things. Whether one fellow is atheist or whether one fellow is Mayavadi, whether he is half theist or he is agnostic or he is devotee, everybody is given a fair chance to survive in this material world. And everybody is given the law of karma, and everybody is getting benefits, and everybody is getting into trouble according to law of karma. So Krishna is not interfering in that. Krishna says that I am not responsible for the pious activities or the suffering of the jiva in the 4th chapter Bhagavad Gita and in the 5th chapter Bhagavad Gita. Krishna very clearly says that I am not responsible for their activities. They are simply doing their own. Krishna also confirms it again and again. Krishna says that this simply out of the association with three modes. Karanam Gunasangosya Sadasadyoni Janmashu. That Sadyoni means auspicious birth, Asadyoni means inauspicious birth. So, how does one sometimes get auspicious birth? How does one sometimes get inauspicious birth? Simply because of association with three modes. Purusha Prakriti Stohi, Bhungte Prakriti Jan Gunan, Karanam Gunasangosya Sadasadyoni Janmashu. So then one may say that oh, this is not correct. You have put these three modes, and you are then playing with the three modes. You are putting everybody to get control these three modes, and then you are saying they are all controlled by three modes. But Krishna is saying, yeah, I'm saying like that. But if you want to cross over the three modes, simply surrender to me. Krishna is saying that Devihi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratya Mam Yevaye Prabhadyante Mayamyatam Tarantite. Simply surrender to me and you can cross over these three modes. It said that Mam Chaya Vyabhicharena Bhakti Yogena Sevate Sagunan Samatite Tan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. So different places in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is confirming again and again that simply by surrendering to Krishna, by doing Avyabhicharini Bhakti, means that undeviated devotional service, one can simply cross over all the obstacles of which is created by the three modes. Krishna is confirming again and again, Mat Prasadat Tarisyati. Krishna says that simply by my mercy, you can just cross over all this Machitta Sarva Durgena, Mat Prasadat Tarisyati. By being Krishna conscious, one can cross over all these difficulties which are caused by these three modes of material nature. So that is not restricted for anybody. It's not like a Varnashrama system. In Varnashrama system, of course, in modern world, if we say these things, then people will get very upset. But just because people get upset, we cannot stop saying what is true and what is not true. In according to our Varnashrama system, it's very strict that what you can get according to your qualification. Some things you cannot just get because you're not qualified. Just like that, a person cannot operate on a patient if he is not qualified to be a doctor. Same way, certain privileges in a society is just not given to a person who is not qualified in our Varnashrama society. Just like in the modern society also, I gave an example that if you have not taken a surgical degree, you cannot go and operate on a patient. You cannot say, oh, this is injustice. Everybody should be equal. Everybody should have the right to put a knife on anybody whom they want to. No, it is just not possible. There's a question of qualification. So, but the modern world, which is atheistic, it simply looks at the qualification which one can attain in this lifetime. But a Varnashrama society, which is based on Vedic literature, it understands that the qualification is not simply attained as a matter of what one can study and one does not study in this lifetime. The qualification is attained as a matter of all the pious and impious results one has accumulated over many lifetimes. So then, according to one's guna and karma, one is segregated as Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Then the Shudras are least qualified and the Brahmanas are most qualified. So all these things are there. And the Shudra, even if he wants to learn Vedic literature, he is forbidden from learning Vedic literature. He cannot learn Vedic literature. He can learn whatever is his quota. He can learn. In Ishamdeshat, it is said that Ma grida kaschas vidhanam. Don't look at somebody else's quota. Be satisfied with your quota. But when it comes to bhakti, Krishna says, Striyo Vaishyas tata Shudras tepi yanti param gatim. That one may be Shudra, and then one may say, oh, according to Varnashrama, he is not qualified to learn the Vedas. Yes, that is correct, that he is not qualified to learn the Vedas. But if he chants the holy name, Aho, Bato, Sopacho, Kariyan, Nejivasati, Vartate, Namatubyam, Te Pustapaste, Jukushashnararya, Brahmanachut, Namagrunanti Ete. This is what Bhagavatam says, that if he has chanted the holy name, even if he is born lower than the Shudra, Sopacha means that one is a dog eater. He is not even in Varnashrama, Chandala. He is not even in the Varnashrama category. He is below Varnashrama. There are many people who are below Varnashrama. Kirata, Huninda, Purinda, Pulkasha, Abhira, Sumba, Yavana, Kasha. All these people. So they all can, by just taking shelter of Krishna, Tasmai Shri Prabhavishnave Namaha. Prabhavishnu means that the most powerful Supreme Lord. By taking shelter of him, they all can become qualified. They all can become qualified. Brahmanuchur Namagranandiyate. It should be understood that they have done all sorts of purificatory ceremonies. They have all gone through all purificatory processes. Everything they have done. They are as qualified as the Brahmanas. So there is no question of discrimination in taking up to devotional service. So in that sense, Krishna is non-discriminatory. In Bhagavatam, we can see some of the best devotees are actually demons, and the topmost devotees are actually women. So where is the question of discrimination? There is no question of discrimination. Prahlad is considered as the topmost devotee, and he is a demon. And Vritrasura is considered as a great devotee, he is demon. In fact, the Bhagavatam is sometimes referred to as a book where Vritrasura's pastime is discussed. So he is so famous, but he is a demon. So where is the question? Where is the question of the partiality of the Lord? So this question, so this is very nicely explained to Parikshit Maharaj by Sukadeva Goswami. So then Sukadeva Goswami explains that it is simply an imposition of the conditioned soul. The defective vision of the conditioned soul imposes the partiality of the Lord. It's imposition, aropita, it is said. It's an imposition. The defective soul, with his defective vision, he sees the Lord as himself. And then he thinks that, oh, I am partial, so the Lord should also be partial. I am having enemies, I am having friends, so the Lord should also have enemies, and the Lord should also have friends. No, the Lord doesn't have enemies, the Lord doesn't have friends. Because even if someone is considered as enemy, still, when the Lord deals with him, he gets very nice result. This nice verse about the great position which was attained by Putana. Aho bakiyam stanakalakutam. So she came that stanakalakutam in her breast. She was applying the worst type of poison, and her only intention was to kill Krishna. But because she showed, or she faked, this motherly affection, and previous birth as Bali's sister, she had this affection towards Vamana, and she wanted him as the son. So then she got this position as Dhatri in the spiritual world, which is exalted position. So such is the mercy of Krishna, that anybody, whether it's a demon or anybody, whether low birth or high birth or whoever it is, they can simply become devotees by the mercy of devotee, by mercy of the Lord. Anybody can become devotee. So different demons are killed by Krishna and Balaram in his various pastimes. And all of them, they attain salvation. Some of them, they attain very special position, like Putana, she attained very special position. So some of the demons attain very special position. Some of them attain salvation. So ultimately, the Lord saving someone or the Lord killing someone, it is the same. So all of them get spiritual benefit by being in front of the Lord. So where is the partiality? There is no partiality. It is nicely explained in Bhagavatam. So the Lord appears in different incarnations. Here it is explained how the Lord appeared as Narsinghadev in order to kill Hiranyakashipu. And Hiranyakashipu is none other than his very dear associate. And the Lord wanted to have a fight. So who will fight with the Lord? Who has the capacity to fight with the Lord? Nobody has the capacity to fight with the Lord. And the Lord is thinking, but still I want to fight as a matter of pastime. So then his own associates, they understand the Lord's desire. And by Lord's desire, everything is arranged that they could actually become great demons and they could fight with the Lord. Hiranyakashipu was always searching. He was so angry about Hari. Where is Hari? Where is Hari? Where is Hari? He's searching. And then when he gets the opportunity to see the Supreme Lord, then he gives him a good fight. He gives him a nice fight. By that fight, he is actually pleasing the Lord. But we should not try to please the Lord like that, because that is not recommended for us. For us, we should try to please the Lord by doing what is ordained by the spiritual master. Yasya prasada bhagavad prasado. That by pleasing the spiritual master, by following his order very strictly, then we should try to please the Lord. And the spiritual master is the expansion of Adi Guru, the original spiritual master, who is Balaram. He is the first expansion from Krishna. Even though he is the first expansion from Krishna, he looks slightly different from Krishna. Krishna is blackish and Balaram is whitish. We can see. And Balaram, he wears blue colored dress, and he is very beautiful. Lord Balaram is so beautiful. So when the Lord's beauty is explained, then Vamana and Mohini and Balaram and Dhanvantri, they all represent Lord's beauty. Balaram is so beautiful to see. His form is so pleasing. He has nice eyes. He has beautiful body. He is so beautiful to see. And he also dresses very nicely with different ornaments and nice blue dress. The Lord is so beautiful. And this Balaram, he is the emblem of service, because he is constantly with the Supreme Lord, even though he himself is Supreme Lord. Lord Balaram himself is also Supreme Lord. But he is constantly with the Supreme Lord, and he is always trying to see how to serve the Supreme Lord. He becomes like the Lord's paraphernalia. And by becoming Lord's paraphernalia, he serves the Lord in Shantarasa. Then he also serves the Lord in Dasyarasa as his servant, sometimes as Sheshanag, sometimes he becomes the bed as a Sheshanag, and sometimes as Balaram, he sometimes massages the Lord's feet, sometimes he's fanning the Lord. So this is serving in Dasyarasa. And then he also serves him in Sakirasa. He actually plays with him. He sometimes wrestles with him when they are all playing. Sometimes the boys, they become into two groups. One group is headed by Krishna. The another group is headed by Balaram. And then there was one big demon one time. This demon, he thought that I can take the form of a cowherd boy and I can try to kill Krishna or Balaram whenever the opportunity comes. Then he was thinking that, and then he became like a cowherd boy. And then he went, and Krishna saw, oh, this fellow is a demon. He's coming like a cowherd boy. Anyway, let him come. Then he came and he joined. And then the boys were splitting into team. There was Krishna's team and then there was Balaram's team. And then they were supposed to wrestle. And at the end, whoever wins, they can sit on the shoulder of the loser. And the loser has to carry the winner and they have to run. So this is the whole stake which is there in this wrestling match. And then Krishna's side, Balaram's side wins and Krishna's side loses. So then the demon, he's sitting on Balaram's shoulder. Balaram is sitting on the demon's shoulder, but he's in the form of cowherd boy. And then he is running. And while he is running, he is thinking that I'll take Balaram so far away from Krishna that Krishna cannot help him. And then I will kill him. And then Balaram is thinking, oh, you fellow, you are trying to cheat us. You're trying to take us like this. Then Balaram becoming heavier and heavier. And then this demon, he takes his original form. He's big demon. Then Balaram, thak, and the demon died. Finished. So like this, sometimes Krishna and Balaram, they are praying together. They are playing together. And Balaram is like a friend. Between Krishna and Balaram, there is friendship. They are like friends. And sometimes Balaram become very protective of Krishna. And then when Krishna goes to take away Rukmini Haran, Krishna is going, and then Krishna is going alone to bring Rukmini. And then Balaram immediately he collects a very big army, and then he's following Krishna. He's saying, oh, these fellows, they could create some trouble for Krishna, and Krishna may need some help. So Krishna goes, and then he steals Rukmini, just like the eagle stealing the prey. He steals Rukmini, he steals. And then all the brother or the brother of Rukmini with the big army is coming, and then Balaram is fighting with him. So he goes to protect Krishna, and sometimes advising Krishna when Rukmi is going behind Krishna, and Krishna actually shaves off his head, etc. And then he comes and tells Krishna, "Oh, you should not do all these things. You should not do all these things. This is not good." So this way he gives some advice to Krishna sometimes. So he's in Vatsalya Bhav. He's like that. That he takes the position of an elder, and then he serves Krishna. There's an interesting story why he takes position of an elder. There's an interesting pastime is there in connection with the incarnation of Lord Ram, because Lakshman was always Lakshman is younger. Then whatever Ram says, then he has to keep doing. And sometimes Ram gives very difficult commands. He gives some commands which Lakshman doesn't like to do, but still he has to do. Or sometimes he gets chastised, even though he wants to do what Ram has told him to do. Just like when Ram told Lakshman that I am going behind this golden deer, you just take care of Sita. You don't go anywhere. Then Maricha, he's shouting, "Hey Lakshman, hey Sita!" He's shouting in Ram's voice. And then Sita is getting so disturbed. She's telling Lakshman, "Your brother is dying. Why don't you go and help him?" Then Lakshman is telling, "Oh, this is all fake. This is all demon's Maya. Don't worry about it. Nobody can harm Ram. I have full confidence that he will come back. Don't worry. Let's just stay put. My brother has told me not to leave this place, so I'm not going to leave." Then Sita is chastising him. I'm telling you, you're not going. You don't have nice intentions. You want to see your brother die. Then he says, "Okay, all right. Now what to do? I have to go." Then he goes, and then Ram sees Lakshman. Then Ram is becoming upset. He says, "Hey, Lakshman, why you came? I told you not to come from here." So now I listen to Sita or I listen to Ram. If I listen to Sita, if I listen to Ram, Sita is chastising. If I listen to Ram, then Sita is chastising. If I listen to Sita, Ram is chastising. Now what to do? And sometimes he gets very difficult commands. He tells Ram tells Lakshman, okay, I'm going to banish Sita. Go and leave her in Valmiki ashram and then come back. Tell her not to come back into the city. And she's pregnant. So he has to do it. So Lakshman is thinking that this is not good deal. I'm getting very raw deal. It's not good. Better to become his elder brother. Then I can tell something. Now I am younger brother. I cannot even tell something. So this way, then Krishna and Balaram came. And Balaram is elder, and Krishna is younger. And Balaram has parental affection sometimes, and he speaks with parental affection. And then also, Balaram has special expansion, rather than his sister, Anangamajari. So with that, he also serves the Lord in Madhurya Rasa. So this way, Balaram is very unique because he serves Krishna in all different rasas. And also in the material world, because Balaram, he is representation of the Sandhini potency. Sandhini potency. Lord has three potencies, major potencies: Sandhini, Samvit, and Haladini. Sandhini potency means the existence of the Lord. Samvit means the cognizance of the Lord, and Haladini means the pleasure potency of the Lord. So all Radharani and the different gopis, they are all expansions of the Haladini potency. And Balaram and others, like the elderly gopis, like Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, they are all expansions of the Sandhini potency. So the Lord, Balaram as an expansion of Sandhini potency, he serves the Lord in different ways. And he is also the Sankarshana. And as Sankarshana, he is the source of this material world, the material creation. And he is also the source of the spiritual creation. So he is the source of all the spiritual planets, the Vaikunthas, the different paraphernalia and Vaikunthas. All this is coming from Balaram to serve the Lord. Same way, this whole material creation, all the different planetary systems, what all we see, Gama Vishita Bhutani, Dharayami Ahado Ahamojasa, Pushnami Chosiki Sarve. So this Gama Vishita Bhutani, Dharayami Ahamojasa. So this is this ojas by which all the planets are floating, the energy by which all the planets are floating. This is actually Sankarshana. This is not Newton's law of gravitation. This is Sankarshana's law of gravitation. So Newton simply stole what Sankarshana created by just making some calculation. Just like an accountant, he is calculating the profit of the business which is owned by his employer. Just because he is calculating the profit, he is not the owner of the profit. He cannot say that this is my profit. Just like that. The gravity or the attraction between the different planets by which they float, it is actually energy of Sankarshana. So it is Sankarshana's law of gravitation. It is not Newton's law of gravitation. Newton simply calculated a value for it. He said, okay, this distance, this diameter, this mass, then according to that, there is an inversely proportional, directly proportional, all these things he did. So he came up with some calculation to calculate, just like the accountant comes up with some calculation to calculate the profit of the firm. So this is all, in fact, we are all existing. We are all existing because of Lord Balaram, his existence potency, the different facilities of the material world. Everything is coming from him. And also, he is the source of the spiritual strength. He is Bala. He is the source of spiritual strength for those who are spiritual practitioners. The strength to practice the spiritual sadhana simply comes from him. He is Bala. And he is also Rama. Rameti iti Ramaha. So he is also the one who gives pleasure to everyone. So this way, Lord Balaram, he is a very important expansion, the first expansion of Lord Krishna. And today is his appearance day, Balaram Purnima. And his appearance itself is very special. He appears in a very special way. when he appears, then Yogamaya, Krishna is instructing Yogamaya that please remove him from the womb of Devaki and put him in the womb of his mother. So then everybody is thinking, oh, Devaki had some miscarriage. But no, Devaki did not have miscarriage. By the instruction of Yogamaya, then he was actually removed. And he was put in the womb of Rohini, who is another wife of Nanda Maharaj. So this way, because he was attracted from one womb to another womb, he is also called as Sankarshana. So the Lord, he has different names, and he does different pastimes. He is also the source of the first Chaturvyuha. From the first Chaturvyuha of Pradyumna, Niruddha, Sankarshana, and Purushottama, they actually expand from him. Then again, that Sankarshana becomes the source of, from that Sankarshana comes Narayana, the Vaikuntha Narayanas. And from that Narayana comes the second Chaturvyuha. And from that Sankarshana of the second Chaturvyuha comes the Purusha avatars, the Mahavishnu, the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and Sirodakshaya Vishnu. So this way, he is the source of the existence of these material and spiritual worlds. And he serves the Lord very nicely. So today is an excellent day, wonderful day to meditate on the pastimes of the Lord, to meditate on Balaram, Lord Balaram, to pray to him, to actually get the spiritual strength to do our sadhana, to nicely do our practices, especially in these difficult times, to remain fixed in Krishna consciousness. Utilize this situation to understand the pessimistic nature of this material world, the impermanent nature of this material world. We should try to understand, utilizing all this. And we should pray to Lord Nityananda Balaram, because Lord Nityananda is none other than the Balaram. Just like Lord Chaitanya is none other than Krishna and Radharani put together, Lord Nityananda is none other than the Balaram. So when he comes as Nityananda, he is very, very merciful. He directly acts like the spiritual master. Lord Balaram, he acts like Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Nityananda acts directly as a spiritual master. So this we have to pray to Balaram, who is also Lord Nityananda, that we should remain fixed in our sadhana, we should remain fixed in our service, we should get the taste, and we should get the strength to do various services according to the order of the spiritual master, ultimately, so that we can go back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So it's almost like 12:50. So if you have some questions, then I can take some answers. Well, you can ask some questions, I can answer.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. Thank you very much for nicely explained text as well as Balram's pastime. So, we have any questions? Anybody is having any questions? We can ask Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Bol.
Prabhuji, this Varnashrama Dharma, as per that, he told this Sudras are not eligible for this learning Vedas, that which we cannot say to the people. Is it means they cannot? They are not eligible, Prabhuji, to learn Vedic chantings. They can never learn, or they can become they do karmas, and they can with that their karmas they can do later they can learn.
So according to the system of Varnashrama, if one is a perfect Sudra for 100 lifetime, one can become a Vaishya. Then one has to become perfect Vaishya. Then one is a perfect Vaishya for 100 lifetime. Then one can become Kshatriya. Then if then one has to become perfect Kshatriya. Then if one becomes perfect Kshatriya for 100 lifetime, then one becomes Brahmana. Then one has to become perfect Brahmana. Then if one has become perfect Brahmana, then he can he can from Brahmana Grahastha, he can become now Brahmana Brahmachari, then Brahmana Sannyasi. So like that, after millions and millions of lifetimes, when he becomes a perfect Brahmana Sannyasi, then he can understand the essence of Vedas. So this is how Varnashrama system works. Just like, first of all, you have to finish grade KG1 or KG2, where you will learn standing line, sleeping line, curved line, etc. before putting A and B and C. Then one has to go to school, the grade 1, grade 2, then one has to pass, one has to go to grade 10, then grade 12, then one has to go to university. Then after finishing university, one should go to masters, and after finishing masters, one will go to PhD, and after finishing PhD, one will go for whatever further postdoctorate or whatever it is. So there is a whole system of how to get qualified. So Varnashrama system follows the same principle, but over many lifetimes, because you're actually getting qualified not for mundane knowledge, but for knowledge which is beyond the mundane sphere. So it takes multiple lifetimes to qualify that. But what Krishna is saying, or what the scripture is saying, or what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is offering, is that whether you are qualified or you are not qualified, simply by chanting the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, we can actually understand Krishna. So if you understand Krishna, that means you understood the whole essence of Vedic literature, because the entire essence of Vedic literature, the whole circus of Varnashrama, is simply meant to understand Krishna. That's why it is there. Atapumbir Vijashreshta Varnashrama Vibhagashaha Swanushthitasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. That it is simply there for pleasing Krishna. By chanting the holy name, one can get service to Radha and Krishna, and by rendering service to Radha and Krishna, one can directly please Krishna. And in order to chant the holy name, there is no restriction that this person should not chant or that person should not chant. Rather, the reverse is true. Narottama Das Thakur is singing that Patita Pavana Hetu Tavai Avatar Masama Patita Prabhu Napai Bear. That you have come to save the fallen souls. So I am the most fallen. So I should be the first in line to get your mercy. So that's what is the situation when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes. So we don't have to worry whether I am qualified to learn Vedas or I am not qualified to learn Vedas. If one has to qualify to learn Vedas, one has to take many, many lifetimes. Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanavan Mam Prabhadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. Krishna is saying, and in Bhagavatam also it is said that Kotishvapi Mahamune, that it is not so easy. Muktanam api siddhanam Vasudeva Parayanaha Sudurlabha Prasantatma Kotishvapi Mahamune. That there are different liberated people, and amongst liberated people, rarely one becomes perfected. Muktanam api siddhanam. Out of millions and millions of souls, rarely one gets liberated. Amongst those who get liberated, rarely one gets perfected. But amongst those perfected beings, it is so rare to find one who has exclusive devotion to Krishna. Kotiswapi Mahamuni is so rare to find such a person. That opportunity is directly given to us. Why we should worry about Vedic literature? It's a question. And why we should worry about Vedic literature? So when we chant the holy name, when we become fixed in the process of chanting the holy name, that means we have already crossed the stage of understanding Vedic knowledge. It's already crossed. So that is a facility which is given in this Kali Yuga. So that's why we should utilize that facility very carefully, without trying to get bogged down of whether, can I chant Rig Veda or Yajurveda or Samaveda. There's no need for us to try to chant. Even in Kali Yuga, those who claim that they know Vedas, they really don't know Vedas, because there is a system of living Brahmanical life. That is not followed in Kali Yuga. 99.99% that is not followed in Kali Yuga. Brahmana means Patana, Patana, Yajana, Yajana, Dana, Pratigraha. These are the 6 activities of Brahmana. That he should read Vedic literature, he should teach Vedic literature, he should learn how to worship the Supreme Lord, he should teach how to worship the Supreme Lord, and he should live in charity, and if he has excess, he should give away in charity. Which Brahmana is living like that in Kali Yuga? Nobody is living like that. The moment one actually works for a master and then accepts some remuneration, either in the form of facility or in the form of money, the moment one works for a master and accepts certain remuneration, that means by his guna and karma, he is a Shudra. And that is how 99%, 99.99% in the Kali Yuga, they live. So there is no question of anybody being qualified in Kali Yuga to understand Vedic literature. That is why in Kali Yuga, Vedic knowledge is so sparse. You cannot even find Vedic knowledge in Kali Yuga. It's so sparse. So what is possible is to chant the holy name. And by chanting the holy name, one can cross over the requirement of mastering the Vedas, because you got already the prayojana of mastering the Vedas. Is it okay?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Any other question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandat Pranam. Prem Rupa Jagannath Das.
Hare Krishna.
Very nicely you explain. I mean, this is one of the practical application problem we face when we go preach outside, like how you can make Shudras to Brahmanas. The Prabhupada said, I made the factory of Brahmanas. So that was very nice. So my question here, another is like the Narayana. We understand this expansions. And people, when they generally refer to Narayana, do they refer to same Narayana, or especially when it comes to the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, which Narayana they refer to? So, because when we know the things, you can understand, you can relate the things, them make them understand also, right?
They are referring to Vaikuntha Narayana. The Narayana who is present in Vaikunthas has different forms of Narayana. He has 4 hands, and then he holds different paraphernalia in those different hands in different ways, and some of the hands are raised in different ways. So that gives to different forms of Narayana. That's what they refer to. But they also pray to Vishnu, who is Narayana. There's nothing wrong. Actually, we have to understand that there is no big dispute between us and Sri Vaishnavas. We should not think that, oh, this big dispute between them. There's no big dispute between us and Sri Vaishnavas. It's just some brotherly argument that, the Supreme Lord, as I know, is more sweeter than the Supreme Lord as you know. This is like 2 sons of the same father arguing with each other. No, father is more close to me, more sweet to me than to you. The person is same. The father is same. It's not that we are arguing about 2 different persons. Your father is different, my father is different. No. It's the same father. But what we are saying to Sri Vaishnavas is that father, when he deals with me, he is very sweet. But when he deals with you, he is not so sweet. So this is the whole argument between us. So the argument is only about the sweetness of the father, whether he is dealing with us, he is more sweet, or whether he is dealing with you, it is more sweet. It is not that, no, your father is not the father, my father is the father. No, that is not the argument. We should clearly understand this. That is not the argument. The argument is that father, when he deals with me, he is very sweet. When he deals with you, he is a bit official. This is what we are trying to argue. That is the only argument. So there is not big difference between us and Sri Vaishnavas. But in the matter of answering the question, they are referring to Narayanas who are present in the Vaikuntha planets. That they are praying to Vaikuntha Narayana, who is the expansion of the first Sankarshana. They are praying to him. But they are all same. They are all same. The fault of generation doesn't exist in these expansions. This is what you should understand. Because that is Shankaracharya's argument. Shankaracharya says that when the son comes out of the father, the son is slightly different from the father due to the fault of generation. Because the law of fault of generation says that one product or one person who comes out of the previous person, he cannot be the same. That's called fault of generation. It's agreed in science also that energy cannot be 100%. it cannot be 100% converted from one energy to another energy. This is law of conservation of energy is there. It cannot be 100% converted. If someone knows thermodynamics, it's there. The third law of thermodynamics says that always there is some loss in conversion. So that's what is the nature of material world. But that law of material world does not apply to the spiritual world. That is Shankaracharya's fault. Prabhupada explains that in the fifth chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, there's a long purport where Prabhupada actually analyzes the fault of Shankaracharya's explanation in trying to understand the Chaturvyuha. So the point is that they are all same. That's the point. That we should never forget. They are all same. But at the same time, the Father, as I know, is more sweeter than the Father, as you know. That also we should never forget. Both of them coexist. So it's a friendly fight. We can keep on fighting. It's not a serious fight. It's a friendly fight. Because the Father is same. Sometimes when children are very small, then they will fight to hold the same finger of the Father. Like when they are going together, they say, no, I will hold the little finger of the Father. Then the other person will say, no, I will hold the little finger of the Father. So both of them are fighting due to the affection for the Father. They are not fighting as enemies. They are simply fighting out of the affection for the Father. That's how the so-called fight between us and Sri Vaishnavas. Or for that matter, any sampradaya, the fight is like that only. Okay. Should we take one more question or the time is up? Okay, there is a question which says that please explain surrender in present Kali Yuga. So do we have time, Manibhushan Prabhu, or time is up?
Yes, you can go ahead.
Okay, what time we are supposed to finish so that I know, otherwise I'll keep going ahead. Then
This Eid holidays are going on, so people are having holiday. So 15-20 minutes now.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so there's a question. It is asked by, it is on the chat. It is asked by Achyut Giridhari Prabhu. He's asking, please explain surrender in present Kali Yuga. So Sanatana Goswami explains the process of surrender in 6 steps. He says that Anukulyasya Sankalpa, Pratikulyasya Varjanam, Rakshashititi Vishwaso, Goptrutve Varanam Tata, Atmanikshepa Karpanya, Shadvida Sharanagati. So these are the different steps of surrender. That surrender means that first of all, we should not understand surrender as something which is shown in movies. Like, one fellow is having some revolver or a weapon, and then he goes behind another fellow and keeps that weapon in that fellow's back and then says, surrender, lift your hands. So then the other fellow is lifting his hands. And oh, please don't do anything to me. So surrender in the material world signifies defeat. But surrender in spiritual sense signifies victory. So there's a huge difference between the material connotation of the word surrender and the spiritual understanding of the word surrender. Because when we actually surrender to Krishna, then we are able to cross over the 3 modes. Mam yevaye prabhadyante, mayam etam tarantite. By surrendering to Krishna, we can actually become victorious in the war against Maya. Krishna says that Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami masuchaha. So you surrender to me, you leave everything, all other thing you abandon, and then you simply surrender to me. Why I should surrender to you? Because I will save you from all types of sinful reactions which you are having. So surrender in spiritual context means victory. Surrender in material context means defeat. So that should be very clearly understood. So that is the first thing we should understand about surrender. The surrender means that we are going to become victorious. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. And that we are going to become victorious by surrender. This is the first thing we should understand. Then the second thing, that surrender as such looks very abstract, because how to surrender? So what is a tangible way to surrender? That question comes. So that question is answered by uh, Sanatana Goswami by explaining the 6 types of surrender. That there is one second, I'll just connect to the charger. He gives 6 steps of surrender. He says that anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam. That one should accept what is favorable to Krishna consciousness, and one should reject what is unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. So by doing that, that is the first 2 steps of surrender. These are the first basic steps of surrender. That one should accept what is favorable to Krishna consciousness. Unless one accepts what is favorable to Krishna consciousness, one will not be able to reject what is unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. The first thing one should accept is that one should accept the association of devotees, because that is favorable to Krishna consciousness. So that's why Ado Shraddha Tato Sadhu Sangha. So when one accepts the association of devotees, then devotees will naturally tell him, chant the holy name, accept, surrender to spiritual master. So when in the process of chanting the holy name and surrender to the spiritual master, which is the next set of acceptance of surrender, then one will have many doubts. One will ask many questions. So all those questions have to be answered. Just like Arjuna is telling Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, in 2.7, Arjuna says that I am surrendering to you. He says, Karpanya dosho bhagata svabhava rachami tvam dharma sammudha cheta shreyaham nishchitam ruhi tanme shishyasteham shadimam tam prapannam. He is saying prapannam. I am surrendering completely to you. So prapanna means that when, like, there are different types of surrender. The specific word prapanna means like the child surrendering to the mother. This is called prapanna. Like the friend surrendering to friend, or an inferior surrendering to superior. Like that, there are different types of surrender. But the specific word prapanna means like a child who surrenders to the mother, because the child is completely in the mercy of the mother. So like that, Arjuna surrenders to Krishna. Then, very interestingly, in 2.9, Arjuna says, but I will not fight. Na yotsvayati govinda. So even though he surrenders, but still he is not ready to fight. Why he is not ready to fight? Because he has doubts, he has questions. So he has to get clear. So that's what happens in the sadhu sangha, that a soul who has this faith to surrender to sadhu sangha, to accept the association of devotees, he has questions. Then there are Siksha Gurus, there is Prabhupada's books by which these questions are answered. And then once these questions are answered, then he is ready to surrender to the spiritual master. That is called Bhajana Kriya. The moment when he is ready to surrender to the spiritual master, then the spiritual master says, you have to follow 4 regulative principles. So then comes Pratikulyasya Varjanam. That whatever is unfavorable to Krishna consciousness, they all have to be given up. So meat eating is unfavorable to Krishna consciousness, intoxication is unfavorable to Krishna consciousness, illicit sex is unfavorable to Krishna consciousness, gambling is unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. All these things have to be given up. Pratikulyasya Varjanam. And these are gross things which are unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. But there are very subtle things which are unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. These are all different weeds which grow by the process of Bhajana Kriya. Like there is Nishidachara, which means that improper behavior. There is Kutinati, which means that duplicitous tendency. And then there is Himsa, which means violence. Then there is attraction towards Puja Labha Pratishtha. Puja means adoration. Labha means profit. Pratishtha means distinction. So there is attraction to these things. So these are all considered weeds, which are growing by the process of Bhajana Kriya. So all these things have to be removed. And then there are other things called as anarthas, which are unwanted things. Just like there is illusion about understanding what is truth and what is false. This is called Tattva Vibrama. And then there are different type of offenses which could be performed, like while worshipping the deity, or while dealing with the Vaishnavas, all while trying to understand Krishna, all while chanting the holy name. So these are called aparadhas. And then there could be different types of attachment to impermanent things, which is called asat trishna. Like one may get attracted to the pleasures of the heavenly planets, or one may get attracted to the pleasures of the present material life, or one may get attracted to the pleasures of having mystic power, or one may get attracted to the pleasure of impersonal liberation. So all these things are attraction to impermanent things. And then there is the matter of the weakness of heart, that one, due to the weakness of heart, one may have great attraction or great attachment to trivial things. It's called tucha asakti. Like that, there are different things which are called as anarthas. So one has to give up all these anarthas by chanting the holy name. This is called anartha nivritti. And all these things constitute pratikulyasya varjanam. So the first step is anukulyasya sankalpa, that one should accept everything which is favorable to Krishna consciousness. And then the next step of surrender is that one should give up everything which is unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. It is called pratikulyasya varjanam. One should give up wrong company, one should give up anarthas, one should give up the aparadhas, one should give up the four sinful activities in the form of following the regulative principles, accepting only prasadam, all these things. So there are positive injunctions and there are negative injunctions. So continuously accepting positive injunctions and continuously rejecting negative injunctions, one would actually understand that Krishna is my protector. Krishna is my protector. Because in this material world, everyone is thinking Maya is my protector. Whatever are the resources of Maya, they are my protection. So that is why people are all worried about money. Everyone wants to have wealth. Everyone wants to have good birth, Janma, Ishwarya, Shuta, and Sri. Everyone wants to have great education, material education, great material knowledge, according to the level they can have. But everyone is looking for it, Janma, Ishwarya, Shuta, and Sri. Because they think that these four things in this material world actually can give me protection. But by accepting what is favorable to Krishna consciousness, by rejecting what is unfavorable to Krishna consciousness, one would ultimately reject all these four things, Janma, Ishwarya, Shuta, and Sri. Nadanam, Najanam, Nasundarim, Kavitam, va Jagadisha Kamaye, Mama Janmani Janmani Ishware, Bhavat Atmatira Vayi. So all the four things are rejected there. Danam, Janam, Sundarim, Kavitam, all these things are rejected there. So this way, by rejecting these things, one would actually understand that Krishna is the real protector, Krishna is the real maintainer. Bhaktaramikadapsam, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, Suridam Sarvabhutanam. These three things, that Krishna is the real enjoyer, Krishna is the real controller, Krishna is the real well-wisher. So one would understand these things. So this is called Rakshasiti iti Vishwaso. By understanding and accepting Krishna's protection, one would actually be able to understand that Krishna is not only the protector, but he is also the maintainer, Palaka. Protector means that when you get into trouble, you go to him, you get protection. This is called Rakshaka. That when you are not in trouble, you are not going to him. You go to him when you are in trouble. It's called Rakshaka. That he is the protector. But then there is Palaka, who is maintainer. That means you are not dependent on him only when you are in trouble. You are constantly dependent on him because he is the maintainer. It's a Palaka. It's Palaka. So that is even more difficult to understand. But by accepting Krishna's protection and by continuously accepting what is favorable in Krishna consciousness and by continuously rejecting what is unfavorable in Krishna consciousness, then one would understand that Krishna is not only the protector, he is not only the Rakshaka, but he is also the Palaka. He is the maintainer. So if Krishna is the protector, if Krishna is the maintainer, why not I give myself entirely to Krishna? That's the logical next step. So that is called Atmanikshepa. Atmanikshepa means that one gives oneself completely to Krishna. So when one gives oneself completely to Krishna, then one will actually be able to understand who is Krishna and who am I. When that knowledge of who is Krishna and who am I, that Krishna is Vibhu, I am Anu, Krishna is great, I am small. When that knowledge actually comes, that is called humility. And that is the last step of surrender. Karpanya, humility, last step of surrender. So this is how one practically surrenders. But where does that start? Where does this whole process start? The whole process starts when one starts chanting the holy name in the company of devotees. This is how the process starts. That one should actually get the mercy of devotees, and by the mercy of devotees, one will be able to chant the holy name. So how to get the mercy of devotees? By serving devotees, one can get the mercy of devotees. Sushushadhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchihi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipraha Punyatirtha Nishevana. By serving great devotees, great service is done, because by such service, one can get attraction to hear Krishna Katha. So therefore, everything starts by seeing devotees, by getting their association, by doing some practical service to them, and by listening to them, and by chanting the holy name. Then, one by one, the process, it goes on. That's why Krishna consciousness is called a science. It's science. It's not like some whimsical thing. It's science. Okay. So,
Thank you very much, Guruji.
already 120, I think we should stop here.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, may I ask a question? This is regarding the potencies of Lord Balram. Can we relate them to Sachidananda?
Yeah, I mean, Sachidananda is everybody. Even you are Sachidananda. Even I am Sachidananda. Everybody
Right.
is Sachidananda. Everybody is Sachidananda. It's not that only Balram is Sachidananda. We are also Sachidananda.
So we can relate all the energies related to Sachidananda, like Sandhini, Samvit, Hladini, all the three.
All are Sachidananda, but we are Anu Sachidananda. The Supreme Lord is Vibhu Sachidananda. There is only difference between, that is the difference between both of us. That we are Sachidananda, but we are Anu. Because we are Anu, we can be overcome by the external energy of the Lord, which is another potency of the Lord. Maya, which is another potency of the Lord. We can be overcome by that Maya. We can forget our actual position that I am Sachidananda Vigraha. We can forget it under the influence of Maya. But the Lord being the master of Maya, by the Lord being the master of Maya, he is never overcome by Maya. Rather, Maya is his maidservant who does not even, cannot even come in front of him. It stays behind him. That's what we learn from Bhagavatam. So everybody is Sachidananda. The Lord is Sachidananda Vigraha. We are also Sachidananda Vigraha. That's why in the second chapter, when the position of the soul is explained, it is explained, Najayate, Briyate, Vakadachin, Nayam, Bhutva, Bhuvita, Vana, Bhuyaha, Ajo Nitya Shashvato, Ayam Purano, Nahanyate, Hanyamane, Sharire. That he does not come into being, he will not come into being, and he has not come into being, Najayate. Briyate, he does not die. He does not die. He is not born. Najayate, Briyate, Kadachin. Nayam, Bhutva, Bhavita, Vana, Bhuyaha. He does not come into being. He has not come into being. He will not come into being. Not in present, not in future, not in the past. Because he is always there. Ajaha, he is unborn. Ajaha, Nityaha, he is always there. Shashvataha, he is permanent. He is consistently there. He is Puranaha, he is very old. Hanyate, na hanyate, he doesn't die when the body dies. He doesn't die when the body dies. So we are also like that. He is also like that. But what is the difference? That is also explained by Krishna. Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tava charjana. You and me, we have taken many, many births. Tanyaham veda sarvani. I know everything. I understand. I know everything. Tattvam veda paransapa. But you don't know. Because you are Jiva. You are minute. You are Anu. You cannot remember. But I can remember. Tanyaham veda sarvani. I know all those things. I know what all we did, all our different appearances. I know all those things. So that is the difference between Krishna and the Jiva. Jiva is bound to forget, but Krishna doesn't forget. Abhigya. Jiva is dependent, but Krishna is Swarat. That's the difference.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Sudarshan Vasudeva Prabhu, you can do the vote of thanks.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. So it is our time to express our gratitude to His Grace Harlila Das Prabhu, who Prabhu has spared his time and efforts to enlighten us with wonderfully explaining the sloga of Bhagavatam as well as glorification on Balram Jayanti. So to express our gratitude, we will chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times, glorification of Prabhu. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
I would like to thank all the Kanaiyyadesh devotees. I would like to thank Manibhushan for giving me an opportunity, auspicious day, to be with all of you, to be of some service to all of you. Thank you very much, Prabhus. Thank you very much, Matajis. Happy Balram Jayanti to all of you. I hope we'll all make nice Varuni drink after Lord Balaram and then have day and big feast. Again, very happy Balram Jayanti. We are also very happy Julan festival to all of you. I hope you're all watching on Mayapur Julan festival. Please stay safe, please stay healthy, and please stay Krishna conscious. Hare Krishna. Shila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Okay, I will
Thank
take
you very much, Prabhuji, for accepting our invitation.
Thank you, Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyascha
की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय।
Shri Harili Prabhu ki jai, Shri Bhagavatam ki jai. We have Balram Jayanti glorification special session in the evening 6 o'clock. Please join everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.